just so you know, Guillermo is one of the Emerge Surface B Fellows at the Poetry Project this year, and he'll be introduced by Patricia Spears-Jones, who's his mentor in that project, and she's here with us tonight, obviously, as well. As usual, I want to tell you about what's happening at the project this week. The year is really coming to a close. On Wednesday, Troubling the Line, Trans and Gender Queer Poetry and Poetics will be happening here. There are a lot of wonderful people reading for that reading, including Samuel Ace, Ching-Yen Chen, C.A. Conrad, Joy Layden, Dawn Lundy Martin, Tim Trace Peterson, Jordan Rice, and on. And then next Monday is Poems About Fucking, which I'm really excited about, which is guest curated by Ross Gay. And so it is going to be an evening of all sex poems. And so Ross Gay, Erica Doyle, Jenny Zung, Kendra DeColo, Patrick Rosal, Alex Dimitrov, and others will be here. And also we'll have like a short open session at the end with some rules. But you guys are all welcome to come down and participate in that. Yeah, no puns intended. So Guillermo will read first this evening, and I'm going to introduce Patricia, who will introduce Guillermo. Patricia Spears-Jones is the author of three collections of poetry: Painkiller, Femme du Monde, and The Weather That Kills. She's also obviously Guillermo Filice Castro's mentor in the Emerge Surface B program. She's lived in New York City since the mid-1970s, where she's been involved in the city's poetry and theater scenes as poet, editor, anthologist, teacher, and she is a former program coordinator at the Poetry Project. She will be reading also in the 40th New Year's Day Marathon this year. Please welcome Patricia.
Where are my flowers? Where's the wine? Okay.
You're getting that.
One of the great things about independent literary center like this is that it tries new things, and the Emerge Surface B was a fellowship program that started this year. And when Stacy asked me to do it, I was going like, well, what are we supposed to do? And then when I got Guillermo, I knew what to do. And I am so glad that we've had this time together. I feel like I should sing. No. But I will just say these words in introduction to this fine poet. At the start of the great film, The Landlord, a black nationalist teacher asked his very young students, "How are we to live?" That line from screenwriter Bill Gunn, black and gay, echoes through the work of Guillermo Filice Castro. Guillermo Castro is a poet who explores the interstices between Argentina and America, between Spanish and English. His poetry flows from the instance of misunderstandings and cultural interplay, and is intensely explored at length in the title poem of his manuscript, Beso Americano. There, issues of intimacy, cultural difference, styles of masculinity are focused on how kisses define us. My favorite line is, quote, "Mother sighs, they don't kiss as much as we do," unquote. And how does she know? Through the relentless mediated image of America and Americans, an image that Castro deconstructs repeatedly as he makes his way into American culture, gay, educated, and Anglophile with a healthy love of his own heritage. The narrator in his manuscript wrestles with a few demons, seduces and is seduced, but keeps the irony at minimum and the earnestness too. Castro is a poet fully voiced and sagacious. The poems focused on his parents' respective illnesses and deaths are poignant, tender, and rueful. And just as an aside, he was very helpful to me after my mother's recent passing. The poems about his various adventures in Lustland, that's what I call it, Lustland, are funny, knowing, sexy, and yes, tender. Indeed, there is a sense of openness, playfulness, and generosity that I rarely see in writing about sex and sexuality from gay or straight writers these days. It's refreshing. Castro is equally adept as a photographer, observant of the urban landscape. His poems taken in and around, his pictures taken in and around Union Square serve as document and ephemera, as if the subjects caught could at any moment go up in smoke. Indeed, it is that sense of taking life on as it is and transforming it that makes Castro's work entertaining but also challenging. His wordplay, his sense of voice, musicality may come across lightly to some, but look again to that line, quote, "They don't kiss as much as we do," unquote. He is asking, how does one culture look at another? How can we tell what truth is and what is myth? How can either be exploited? Where may this lead? More kisses? Intimacy? Irony? Earnestness? Poignancy? Playfulness? Questioning? These are the words that mark Castro's work. Listen, enjoy, kiss the poet.
Wow. Thank you, Patricia. It's been a gigantic pleasure to work with you and to know you for all these years. And I appreciate this chance also because I think I got to know you even better. We had a lot of fun. Wow, I'm sorry. Ventures in Lost Land. I want to go to a theme park. I'm going to start off with the piece that from which Patricia just quoted a couple of lines, which is An American Kiss, or Beso Americano. The manuscript actually would be in the title would be in Spanish, Beso Americano, but the poem itself is An American Kiss. In casual reading, it's elusive. Americans are cold. Mother claims from other America south of Mexico. But what did Dennis the hairdresser say all those years ago? People from your country must be cold. He pronounced after I dodged yet another of his sexual advances. Well, at least we don't lie about our age, I replied, based on the passport I found in the washer that morning. Dennis had also advertised his living room as a second bedroom. I took it anyway. My very first night there, he trilled, "Wanna watch a video?" and popped in the biggest one I ever saw when I got off a long-distance call. A week later, the VCR would be gone thanks to a burglar's magic and answered prayers. Mother sighs, "They don't kiss as much as we do." I was flattered by the harassment, even if I hid in his bathroom. Sometimes my lips find air, or a taut equation of jawbone plus neck. Imagine climbing to smooch Mount Rushmore. "The European kiss," an American acquaintance exclaimed while recoiling from the puckered menace of my visiting friend's mouth, who muttered, "What an asshole." Further pictures of awkward kissing come to mind. The way father and I greeted, it entailed a rigid choreography of controlled forces to achieve the briefest of pecks on either cheek. If only cranes could kiss, two cranes leaning into the other for a flash sideswipe at a construction site. He would not come to the airport to see me off. The eve of my departure, Dad held the umbrella as we crossed the street with his arm belted around my waist. The first and last. "Don't trust anybody," he advised at the bus stop. The other close contact was a slap at age 5. To mate, birds touch their multi-purpose back orifice together. This is known as a cloacal kiss. Mother says, they hug a lot. We hug too, Mom. Once, in front of her husband's grave, she gripped my hand, and she was so tiny, and I, her somewhat embarrassed child. I remember the dab of butter Dad left to my cheek from the toast he ate 35 years ago. Mom says, Americans hug more. I see it in movies all the time. Yep, me too. An American kiss. An understatement. Slippery. One more kiss, dear, begs the Blade Runner soundtrack. A kiss, still a kiss, according to Casablanca. I'm a sucker for it. Bésame mucho, please. Okay, skin, blood, tingle, are you ready? Here it comes. I'm going to continue with a bunch of poems I wrote under. Oh God, I forgot to thank the poetry project, Stacy and Arlo. I'm sorry. The fellowship has been great. It's been just a fantastic encouragement. Validation for my work, and just to know that someone is listening and paying attention. What else could you possibly want? And the money. So this is a series of poems that I wrote thanks to that all that I was just talking about, validation, encouragement. They're all set in the city of Miami, where I first arrived. So here we go. The neighbor. I see her almost every morning in the unflattering green pants of her uniform. The silver badge states Immigration and Naturalization Service. And the rising eagle in the shoulder patch screams something in Latin. And does this elevator ride of nearly 3 floors feel eternal? Almost every morning, she drives off the lot in a withered Ford, and her one-eyed poodle settles in the passenger seat without as much a peep out the window as I dart next door to my illegal gig in my regal blue Little Spa Hotel t-shirt. And what the hell was she doing at the front desk last week? Who knows? One day she might be at the head, or rather the tail. Ladies clearly pushing retirement age. Of the INS team raiding the premises, would have learned the Russian words for clean and dirty, where I wash the sheets of Jewish retirees who think I'm Cuban and call me Billy. For the record, I'm Argentinian. And we move on to the break room. Keen as Karen, the deaf Trinidadian busboy, collects our quarters. On the table, vitamin D, milk, and Wonder Bread. Little squares of butter. Pillows for the flies, if you allow it. Ingo the German won't let me forget he's here to make money. And gripes about his wife spending Nordstrom bags in front of her like an armored vehicle. A mole-leveling force announcing, mine, mine, mine. Same complaint later when we are side by side folding towels. He thinks Americans are stupid, and I guess that means he is not. Meanwhile, Americans are no longer found below deck unless you're a guest of the proprietor or work at the front desk, for the last American worker fled under the smoke of the fire we created. And as we endow, displaying chicken chow mein with more Heinz, in comes the Jamaican cook with the news. The Brazilian waiter was detained at Miami International. Did that lawyer take his money? Probably. Was that work visa real? Probably not. And how funny. The Brazilian did offer to hook me up with the guy, but I was too broke. So forget the Nicaraguan lawyer who tried to fuck us, and forget the last American worker who fucked a guest or two, even fell in love with one, or so he said. On his last day, as he heaped on the work table an entangled mess of sheets that ended up igniting, how fast we scrambled from the old eating fire, and how lofty those bits of linen looked when aloft, and how humbly they sailed off. And now we're moving to laundry. Here's chances are for you again, Billy. Remember, I may rule this room, but you know the real boss. That tall guy who signs small checks and checks on us thrice a day. Lips lubricious with ointment. His voice also booms out of the PA, paging names. Are called to making sure we've got something to spin in these machines. Rattle and roll, my friend, with a constant tinge of ire in your step. Oh, there's always a weed whacker lying in wait, carnage and spray for the lizards on the grass. Or a core hanging in need of a good jerk, while the eye of the storm tightens around us. You in your foreign felony shoes, as I like to call them. Me, red-eyed in Jordache jeans. I'll sing to you, just as the downpour begins with a sushi vibrato. Oh man, do we steam, do we rinse and repeat, and on the phone a weasel-sized chirp. You guys got up? And now the next poem is me addressing the person who was talking in the previous poem. And Tyrone, perhaps you were the shit in Chicago, where everybody knew you as Larry. Here in Miami, you styled yourself as a thin-hipped knife plucked hot from the sand, where you also had a hard-on for Gaddafi, his cape billowing out of a convertible, like a desert mocking tongue, all to impress the ladies at some Tripoli disco. You about to have no private life, and indeed, I was privy to your lively but unexposed erections, and the further tales of you squirting into a drain, as neighbors waited to use the shared loo. You riding daily that redhead with the two tots, until you started calling them mines, so she up and left. In a line you wrote, you entered women like a hot tub. And the surprise of your tears after you slapped that maid, not the wine you took to the back of the laundry to dry hump, both cracking up when she called you a dog, but the older one with the golden cap who raided the linen closet greedy for whites. Most shortened your name to Ty, while I made it rhyme with haha, tyrant. And on my last day of washing and falling, pressed against each other, we were cool for a quick hug. Another habit that I developed, I had it before, but I think it wasn't, it got increased while I was in Miami, was a telenovela or soap opera watching. And after a while, it just seems like you can just shuffle the elements in any of those telenovelas, and you can create a new one. And so this is what the next piece is about. Just trying to get the cliches, and then we shuffle the cliches and create or write a new episode of any given telenovela. Telemundo, telenovela. The dying patriarch, the suspicious lady of the house, a maid newly pregnant, with another niño bastardo. 2 shots fired. The patriarch, a bastard. The lady dying in the house. The new maid, fired. Her other niño, pregnant with suspicions, shot twice. A 2-shot patriarch. The pregnant lady with her hose on fire. Another bastard maid dies, and the newest suspects, a niño. The patriarch's new suspicions. That lady boy, made to hose dying bastards, fired the other shot at his pregnant twin. Bastardo, the patriarch shouts at the pregnant boy. 2 ladies die in another fire at the new home for suspicious maids. For the maiden impregnating patriarch, the fiery house lady and her niño, both new to shooting up. Other bastards dying suspiciously. Conquistador is your cerveza. Conquistador, like amor, conquers all. And that's telenovela 101. Am I going over my time? I just lost track of time. I'm going to read a series of self-portraits. This one is called Self-Portrait with Boxer. Sorry for slamming the green metal door that blackened your left eye. Sorry if I had already drum-slapped your bald head, yanked belly hairs, all in the room where you botched the slaughter of holiday birds and the pronunciation of foie gras. Sorry I found it amusing to see you weep with such flair under the eyes of Evita and Seferino Namuncura, who hung childless and saintly on your wall. Sorry I was such an unabashed asshole 5th grader mocking your 3rd grade education, slick enough to know you'd forgive and once again rig car games in my favor, if not cheer me on whenever I shovel boxed on a box spring, in emulation of the flyweight life of your youth. Jab, jab, left cross, hook, an uppercut, head bob, unmatched men touching other men the only way they know how, for profit and exhaustion. Gored. It must have really hurt, Uncle. Sorry I lost your wedding ring. Self-portrait with musician. Sometimes the heart strikes out noisily, leaps into a grand piano like a stunt man. Green-eyed, an almost green voice. She leaps out of a grand piano like a stunted man, resurfaces reptilian, shedding scales. She's a whisper inside a box of whales, an amphibian on the surface, adding scales, to leave the swamp dressed for a part. I too whisper from inside a box of veils, rustle up a melody that comes apart, leaving the water in a dress from Kmart. She sings over sweeps of petal steel, rustles up a harmony that quickly comes part of my flesh. More and more I would steal from this lady singing over sweet petal steel. The green eyes and the pale green nose that sinks into flesh as much as it might heal whenever the heart strikes without voice. Moving on to a series of poems about my mom, who passed away 3 years ago. So I wrote a bunch of elegies. Mother Falls. What are we going to do with this woman we love and anger easily? What to do? Gravity hungers for her, and her hair is a gorgeous death bear tumbling, while her cubs whimper in the snow. All these poems I call poem 1, 2, 3. This one actually was called Mother Falls, but then I'm jumping into poem 2. It is in your house again, hanging over the unfamiliar edge of your duvet, the same white you loved, following clean rooms where you reigned like a child, skilled at buffing tiles and sprinkling poison on roses laden with ants that faded under the only pink snow they would ever know. Monpon 3. As the wave caught you unawares and lifted you from behind, this buoyant partner then split and slid around your hips to dress you in flamenco ruffles. And whatever utterance your mouth pitched toward a trial of clouds made your whole chest push and surge forward joyfully, my Latin Ursula Andress, in front of a camera, nothing but loose-lipped shells beneath your imperfect arches. I think it's not being much of a downer. I'm gonna close this series with another downer poem. Sorry, it's another one. Also, my poems are not happy poems. Poem 5. Actually, never mind. I'm gonna skip to the one in the series. It's slightly more joyful. Just a little bit. And that would be number 7. You were in love with doctors. You crazy gal in need of doctors. You obsessed with fictional doctors, whose constant doctor and doctor action lured in more potent doctors. And how they tickled you, doctors. Or nurses falling for the wrong doctors. You could never have enough doctors, all made up but lab-coded as actual doctors, who nonetheless could doctor your seesaw mind to doctor is blessed and doctor is best perfection. Soon that doctor routine soured you on prop doctors until a new, valor and valium-giving real doctor could flip you like no other doctor. From then on, your litany of a doctor said this, a doctor said that, dialed the doctor number to the next level of doctor madness in our household. Doctors made to order, invisible witch doctors, justly good to you, fragile and equivocal, all those doctors. All right, skipping right along. Oops, freebie. And of course, I had to read a couple of poems about and for my dad, because he also passed away a number of years. Otherwise, he'll never forgive me. Para mi padre, who knew he couldn't touch the sky, but that never stopped him. He loved the decommissioned air exhaled by the old plains, appointed to the museum lawn, though he loved the newer engines more, blessing the nearby tarmac with oil and thunder. So he declared the grounds sacred enough for a family picnic every other weekend henceforth, a row with the wife, weather permitting, of course, until the day he boarded a domestic flight bound for an opera house in the rainforest. And within a month, his rented penmanship began belting from postcards. And within 6, he was back, a balding and tan alien reeking of elsewhere, while his mistress fingered herself non-stop in his mind. He whose father had come by water, he who once longed to be a sailor, till his mother brewed a storm of objections. He who'd never learned to swim, save for a quick slide across chlorinated tides. He whose kites would rise from newspaper and reeds to ride the gusts with gusto, hands on the twine, letting go a little, reeling back the slack, as one splendid beast after the other flung itself above the chain-link fence and roared. Sorry, I know I'm shuffling papers, but I did have a, kind of a song list or set list, but then as I read, then I realized, no, God, this is and I have to move along. Thanks for your patience. It's like a subway announcement. Burglar. I slip off the sheets, listen, open bedroom door, lights at the end of a hallway. Is that water? Who is running water? Hold breath, hold. Who's in the bathroom? All monsters. Bananas turn into leopards. Water collaged on silence. A silhouette jumps out, jumps the heart. It's the cat, curve of a tail. She begs the question, who's there? Another shape follows, slim, round head. And why do I think of the kid I saw earlier jumping the turnstile? Shame, sadness, anger leveled his features as he sat on a polished bench, watched over by 2 undercover cops, one squatting to his right, as if sketching the boy's face in his pad. 2 short straight lines for the eyes, one longer for the strained lips. And what will I do when I see the thief's face, when he sees what's for the taking? My dry mouth, an immobile phone, unlit and uncharged. Am I to offer perennial complicity, compliance? My lover returns to bed, clean as a steady heartbeat. And I think maybe I should be closing. The you, that is I. Oh angel, I tell myself, worry less about some luminous elsewhere, and look for the human in the error, the mirror in the cracked man. Be not a roadblock to a good fuck. Thank the house and the serpent in the garden, whose dreams of fallen fruit are yours. Thank what gives you mass, your Sunday eggs, your Higgs boson. Not only that, but congrats, you managed to slip in something you just read in the Times. Alive and well reiterates your reflection. Look up. once raised in obscurity and anger, tethered than you think stars, bear a speech across an ancient stage, at which you gaze, gleaming in the dark. Thank you so much. Thank you.